Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to be here to share with you the teaching that we use technology to enhance interaction in our online classroom, as well as when we go back to the traditional teaching. So if you can hear me loud and clear, please give me a thumbs up or type number 1 to the chat box, everyone. Hello. It's like, actually, it's an honor for me to be here to share with you. The contents you are going to listen to is purely my own experience from, more than 10 years of teaching and several months of teaching online because of the terrible, horrendous pandemic. Okay. So, please type 1 to the chat box if you are a high school English teacher, and type 2 to the chat box if you are a university lecturer, and please type 3 if you are a secondary school English teacher. Let me see. I want to get to know my audience, everyone. Wow. Welcome. I can see a lot of 2s. That's nice. Kindergarten teacher, yeah, welcome, welcome. Technology is a little bit difficult for kids, right? For young, very, very young learners. But yeah, if we are dedicated enough, we probably might find a way to teach them. Okay, good morning. Yeah, thank you very much. Where are others? Where are others? I'm not. Yeah. I strongly believe that. We are all teachers to some extent. Probably we can teach our kids in the future, or we teach, our relatives how to do something, not just English, right? We can, to some extent, we are teachers. Okay, so we're going to start now. We're going to talk about enhancing interaction in classroom context using technologies. And this does not necessarily mean we do this for online classrooms, okay? But when we go back to the normal, the new normal after the pandemic, we can also use these to, to build rapport, to establish strong, beneficial, positive relationships with our students, and to help them achieve better, higher, admirable learning outcomes, all right? So in this context, this presentation is made mainly for online classroom, but I hope that you may find your own way to apply into your own situation when we, when we are able to continue our in-person education. Right. So I will talk about the gadgets that you may need. Of course, you don't really have to have them, but yeah, it is advisable, or it is strongly recommended to have them, all right? And I'll go through 3 stages of an online classroom, and we talk about 4 main ways to make your online classes more interactive. And in the last section, we're going to go through the qualities of a great teacher. All right, let's do it. So you can see I have prepared many gears on the screen, right? So can you tell me in the chat box, what gears on the screen do you have? What gears on the screen you have? Please share with everyone. Of course, if we want to teach an online class, we need a laptop or a desktop, right? So can you please type to the chat box? Oh, we have a PC. Thank you very much, Miss Levidor. A camera, a headphone. Excellent. Brilliant. Wow, a computer and a headphone. Oh yeah, you see, enhancing interaction, yes. Laptop. Yeah, why the tripod? Why the tripod? I'm going to tell you why. Yeah, I'm going to tell you why. Oh, you cannot see the slide? Everyone, can you see the slide? Yeah, Mr. Young, yeah? Can you see the slide?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, you have Tung Zheng, you have a computer, a webcam, headphones. Yes, excellent. Oh, wow. Anyone has a tablet and, an Apple Pencil or an S Pen by Samsung or a Microsoft Pen or something? Okay, you may find weird to see a tripod and a blue backdrop, all right? So I want to ask you why, but I'm going to tell you the reason why we need, the tripod and blue backdrop. So probably when you teach, you want your students to remember what you teach longer. This is what you have to agree with me, because it is our ultimate purpose to help them remember what we teach and help them apply what we teach into their own reality, right? To adapt into their own reality. So we need to find a way to constantly expose them to what you have taught them. And by making videos, of course. And if you record yourself in front of a blue or a green backdrop, it is easier for you. Actually, it's very easy for you with, a lot of video editing apps. Nowadays, you can remove the backdrop and you can replace it with a particular background related to the lesson that you taught, right? Okay, and we have the tripod. So the quality of the video that you are going to shoot will be stable. And you don't really have to, human beings shaped to some extent, right? We shape to some extent. We cannot stand still the whole time. So basically, we need a tripod. Okay, so why do we need a good microphone? Why do we need a good webcam or, the camera? But nowadays, most laptops have camera built-in or webcam built-in. So we don't really have to worry about the camera. But if you're using a Mac Mini like me, or you're using a Windows CPU or something, you will need a webcam, right? It should be HD, everyone, and it's cheap these days, right? It's cheap. So why do we need two monitors? Do you think? Can you tell me the reason why we need two monitors into the chat box, please? Why do we need a pair of headphones? Or if, I don't want to say we are rich, but if we have those gadgets, if we have those devices, technological devices, what's the point having them? Besides the laptop, which is the main way for us to, teach online classes. Can you please tell me in the chat box? I'm still waiting for answers, please. I'm still waiting for answers. Oh yeah, to make all more exciting and interactive. Yes, I agree with you. I can't agree with you more. Anyone else, please? This is what we call interactions, everyone. We teachers, we have shifted from teacher-centeredness to learner-centeredness, right? So we should want our learners to, interact more, to get involved more in our online sessions, in our class in general. Yes, to communicate. Thank you, Mr. I'm not sure. Thank you, Maxine. Teacher Maxine. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. I'm sorry for that. But yep, thank you very much for your contribution. It's for the students' experience during classes. Yes, it's for students' experience during classes. Yes. To make video clip lessons. Yes, that's right. How about your own experience when it comes to teaching online? Imagine if you feel uncomfortable, if you feel sad, if you feel that I don't have enough gadgets to teach, but this is what I have to do, so I have to do it. You don't feel really comfortable doing what you are doing. How can you deliver a lesson, effectively? How can you teach them? How can you persuade your students to, believe in yourself, believe in what you are teaching them? So it is also important to invest in gadgets as well, to make yourself comfortable. Because if you want to use anything, you have it in your hands already. It's already on the table. You just need to grab it and try it with your hands. Just like that, for better performance in class, right? So, yeah, all right. Let's move on. The 3 stages of any classroom, not just an online classroom. The pre, the while, and the post, right? Okay, so what are we going to do in each stage? Let's figure out together. All right, in the pre-teaching stage. I strongly believe that you agree with me. You will have to agree with me. As teachers, we need to prepare. We need to download, and any visual aids from the internet, the photos, the videos to be used in the lessons, right? Because most students, they are, how do I say, they are visually stimulated. They're in class, when you ask a learner of English to read a long text, they will feel bored, I'm sure. Yeah? But, they will be excited. They will be more engaged if you show them photos, right? You show them, or you let them watch a video, of course, related to the lessons that day, right? Okay. You need to prepare the related materials, including the audio recordings, right? And you need to pick activities to be used in the lessons. So why do I say you pick activities? Probably from your own experience. These activities are effective in like this class. The 4 skills, listening, speaking, writing, and stuff like that from your own experience. But I also want to mention that you need to experiment new activities. Okay, as teachers, we are pioneers. We're just like scientists, right? We experiment to see which activities work the best in certain groups or in certain class. Yeah, and it's best to prepare 1 game or 2. On Kahoot, on WordWall, I believe these platforms already. Just as a warm-up activity. Or you want to, wrap up what you have taught. So you can let them play a game, a Kahoot, a WordWall. And yeah, of course, this is how do I say? This is basically a competition, right? Competition gives your students a reason to try better, to try harder, because they want to win. Human beings all want to win. Nobody wants to lose, right? Okay. Yeah. Most importantly, we need to prepare teaching approaches, right? So I say we combine the approaches together. We don't use one primarily the whole time. We combine them, right? We use them. We experiment with teaching approaches. Yeah, it can be GTM, it can be CLT, it can be audio-lingual method, stuff like that. Combine them and test it out if it suits your class or not, right? And we need, you remember we have a tripod and, on the blue backdrop, right? So we can make, this is a suggestion only, right? You don't really have to do this, but I always tell my, TESOL learners to do this. Most Vietnamese learners of English have problems with their pronunciation. They have vocabulary in their mind. They know how to express themselves, but what they verbally produce, is not really understandable because of their bad pronunciation. So that's the reason why I always ask them to record, everyone, to use your phone to record what is in the lessons. I mean, the vocabulary, right? We can expose them to English more often. And we ask them, hey, you don't really have to go to the dictionary if you don't have time. If you have time, you can do that. But I have made some videos on pronunciation of these lessons for you. You need to check it out. And you need to make a video of yourself saying the words after, a certain period of time of practicing, right? So this is how technology is integrated into teaching and learning. All right, that's pre-teaching stage. We have more to talk about. So, of course, before we teach an online class, we need to check if we have the internet connection, if our internet connection is stable or not, right? And sometimes I say we have to sacrifice, everyone. We have to sacrifice. And by sacrifice, I mean you have to use your own money to hotspot yourself with some, data, the satellite data, 3G, 4G, and 5G. Yeah, 5G is the latest, I believe. But yes, sometimes we have to sacrifice, not as like to facilitate learnings of our learners, right? I always tell my TESOL learners that if teaching is all about you, about the teacher, then it's not teaching. Then you are a teaching worker. The teaching should be about your learners, about their learning outcomes, about their learning experience, not about you. Okay? Right. So you don't have to agree with me, right? You can argue with me. You don't have to agree with me 100%, right? I welcome differences. Of course, we need to check our hardware, I mean the laptop or the desktop, to make sure that it works, it functions normally. And if you use a laptop, probably you may forget your battery charger, right? So bear in mind, if you use a laptop, you need battery, yeah? Because the camera, the microphone, and the screen consumes a great deal of energy. So you need your battery charger. Okay, you need to check these before you teach an online class. All right, and before going to the while teaching stage, I mean, what steps we should take, what platforms we should use to teach them online and to make your lessons more, colorful and attractive. We need to understand these three terms, acronyms to be exact. So the 4 E's will be the very basic fundamental stages that you need to go through when it comes to teaching a classroom. We need to engage our students. We need to explore the lessons with our student, of course, together. And if they have questions, we explain to them. And at the end of the lessons, or at some point of the lesson, you can extend the knowledge to widen their horizons. Not just the knowledge in the lessons you are teaching. And this is like in this 21st century, knowledge alone is not enough. They need soft skills. And by soft skills, I mean the 6 C's. You can find a lot of definitions on Google about 6 C's, okay? But to me, these are 6 categories that I always try to integrate into my teaching. Of course, I don't tell my students, hey, I'm teaching you to be creative. Hey, I'm teaching you to be a good person. I don't say that. I do it deductively. I do it implicitly. Okay? So creativity, citizenship, which means to teach them appreciate and respect differences, different culture, yeah, races and stuff like that. We teach them critical thinking, which means we want them to ask questions, right? And we put them in groups, so we put up rules so they can better communicate with each other, and they have to collaborate with each other to reach certain goals. And we also teach them to use modern technologies. Which websites are reliable? Just like that. To use tools, for example, if you're using an iPhone, there is a function called speech. So basically, when you select text, there's an option for you to use Siri to speak the text selected for you. So your students, they don't know. Your learners, they don't know because they just use their phone, for social networking, for gaming, not really for studying, so they don't know. Basically, you need to know, and you tell your students, right? And the last one is the PPR. This is my own experience, and this is my, I created this. So PPR basically is you personalize. You remember Dr. Jonathan talk about individualize, right? Or yeah, so personalize the knowledge for our learners, and we let them practice quite often, and we make them repeat the whole process. All right, because I once heard and strongly agree with that statement: repetition is the mother of skills. You are very good at something because you have done it millions of times. That's it. Okay, so now you can see 6 ways you can do to captivate your learners on an online environment. Of course, we need to communicate to everyone. By talking about tech, I don't mean that we just use tech to teach. We also need to win over them. We also need to engage them. We also need to go through the fundamental stages. We don't jump right into the lessons and tell them to open the book or to look at the screen and read stuff, right? We need to communicate first. We need to engage them first. So tell me, please, in the chat box, if you use any. If you use any of these points, or if you are doing any of these points in your online classroom or in-person classroom, please tell me in the chat box, everyone. So do you get their attention first? Do you ask questions and do you provide ideas by asking questions? Do you use, a variety of visual aid stimulation? Like you let them watch short movies, clips, objects, discussions, and photos like that? Yeah? And are the materials related to the topic? Of course, we need to do this, right? And do we personalize the exercises or the practice for our students? Because if they can find the similarity between what they are learning and what they are experiencing in their real life, it will be easier for them to remember and they will find the lesson practical and meaningful. Yes, right. I can see a lot of yes. Thank you very much. And the last one, are you confident? Are you confident enough? So when learners come to you and ask you, I'm sorry, Mr. Tan, my speaking ability is really slow. I cannot speak English fluently. How do I improve my speaking? So I say, you have to be more confident. Is it? You have to be more confident. Then I don't give any other advice, and that is not enough, right? But as teachers, you need to be natural. You need to tell a story. You are confident, and you simplify what you are teaching, so it's comprehensible to our learners, right? Okay, so let's move on. You can see a lot of words on the screen, I know, and it's confusing, I know. So let me explain it to you. We need to integrate real-time interaction, for example, via Microsoft Teams or via Google Meet, which is used very widely nowadays because basically it's free, right? Or it can be through Zoom. Any platform that you are teaching an online classroom on, you need to integrate real-time interaction by, number one, asking questions to an individual. Asking an individual some, simple questions. And this is done because we need teacher and learner interaction, right? And by answering the question, we need them to think. We need them to start thinking about how to express themselves in English. And this is also to build trust between learners and teachers, which is very important. Like I told you, we may have, multiple degrees and certificates. Yeah, we are prominent, but we don't know how to communicate, and that's going to be a disaster. All of our certificate and degrees are meaningless if we cannot deliver, if we cannot communicate the message effectively. So we need to build strong rapport. We need to build trust, okay, by asking some simple questions. It can be about the topic. It can be about their own life. But for example, I usually ask my student, hey, what did you do last night? What did you have for dinner? What did you do last week? Right? And it's a chance for you to get to know your learners better. Okay? Because once they're open to you, it's easier to teach them. It's easier to help them. All right. You can do small group discussions. Of course, I will go through the platform and how to do it later. But now I want you to have a look at, activities or ways to organize activities in an online class. So we have small group discussion, we have whole class discussions, and we can have study groups. And you can see the reason why we do these. All right? So it's for LL interaction. TL means teacher and learners, and LL means learner and learners. Learner to learner interaction, right? We need that kind of interaction as well, all right? Because they don't only learn from you, they learn from their friends as well. Yeah? In Vietnamese, we say, học thầy không thầy học bạn. That's it. This is what I applied for, all right? And you can see the 6 C's. The reason why we do group discussion or class discussion is for the 6 C's. And it's for trust building, right? They listen to others and, they may critically think about what they just heard and try to respond with some arguments, for example, right? And what you are doing is to try to develop a sense of community and a sense of belonging for your classroom, because all voices are heard in your classroom. Okay, so that forged relationship, that's clarified ideas. If ideas are difficult to understand, there'll be a chance for them to re-express themselves in other words, or you as a teacher, you can explain that if you understand, and yeah, probably it can spark new insights. I mean, bring new ideas to your learners, right? I have to say, sometimes I learn from my learners as well. Some of them are workers, some of them work already, so they have more knowledge in the field they are working, in the field they work, more than me, so I learn a lot from them. Right, so as a teacher, what should we do? It's like we need to use the chat box to check understanding. Okay, so please type number 1 to the chat box if you think what I'm saying is useful. What I'm sharing with you is useful. Please type number 1. And if not, please type 0. Wow, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm so proud. I'm so happy. Okay, thank you very much. But by doing the chat box, by taking advantage of the chat box, we try to create a norm. Imagine you have to teach a class with which size is about like 50 students, 50 learners, or even more, 100 for a university class. What are you going to do? If they don't really pay attention to you, they don't turn on your camera. Of course, you don't expect them to turn on the camera all the time because of the background, their own background. Yeah. So we need a way to interact with our students. Like, everyone, do you want to speak to the monitor with a lot of faceless rectangles on the screen? It's like you're talking to yourself. So if you prefer your students not to turn on the camera, please type number 1. And if you don't, you want them to turn on the camera, please type 0 to the chat box. I want to know your opinion about this. All right. Some of you don't want. Oh, wow. A lot of you don't want. Okay. Yeah. People have different ideas about this, right? It's okay. It's okay, right? I have to admit that I'm a talkative person, and I'm kind of really. I need socializations by looking at faces. I want to know how and what they are thinking, what they are feeling about, the lessons, or they are concentrating or focusing or not. So I always ask my learners to turn on the camera. Of course, we don't see all of the faces like at one time, right? It depends. It depends on the platform that you are using. If it's Zoom, yeah, you can see a lot of faces, but if it's Microsoft Teams, I believe you can see only 9 faces at a time. And if it's Google Meet, I believe about 10 faces at a time. Okay, but I need human interaction, even though it's through the virtual world. Right? I crave human interaction. Okay, we also need to encourage peer evaluations. No students want to turn their camera on. Oh, yeah, okay. This question is interesting, and I'm going to answer it at the end of the presentation. Thank you very much. I remember, thank you, Ms. Hung, yeah? All right, so we encourage our learners to, give feedback to their friends. However, to avoid, arguments, no, not really argument, to avoid conflict, to avoid anxiety, to avoid tense learning environments, we must tell our learners to provide constructive feedback, right? No one wants to be criticized. This is very well said in How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. No one wants to hear criticism. So the feedback that we provide should be constructive. Not only our learners, but ourselves as well, as teachers. Okay? Yeah, we use 1 game or 2, right, to create an active and enjoyable learning environment. And very important, everyone, I desperately need you to remember the names of your learners. If you are teaching a class, whose size is not really big, about around 15 or 20 or under 15, I need you to remember your learner's name, okay? Because some of my teachers, some of my colleagues, some colleagues of mine, they can't even remember the name of their learners, right? And because their name is the sweetest sound to themselves, right? So we give them a sense of pride and importance by calling them by their name, okay? So let's be creative with discussions using these 3 platforms. I know we don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to do a demo. This is Jamboard. Jamboard. Sorry for my bad pronunciation. But okay, so when you use Jamboard, it's easy for you and for your students to contribute to the lesson. Look, first we need to upload the picture that we want to teach or we want them to discuss. And in this case, you see, I press right here and I press upload and I browse for the picture. And in this case, I have something like this, all right? And then I will ask my learners, before asking my learners, I need to remember to change the rights, the authority of the file to editor, okay? And I copy link and I send it to the chat box like this. Okay? And when your learners, hey, can you access the link, please? Can you go to the link so we can see what happened here? So if you're using a computer or a laptop, please click on the link. Yes, we have the first participant. So basically, you will ask your learners to, for example, make 1 sentence for each item they want. For example, okay, I will ask my learners to do this. To do this, everyone, please make 1 sentence for any item of your choice. Just like that. This is, oh, I'm sorry, my bad. You get what I mean? So we instruct our students to make sentences, right? Make 1 sentence for any item of your choice. Okay? And then what will your learners do? They are going to create anything they want, like sticky notes, and they want to make a sentence with "and." They can say, "I love you," and "I want to be with you." Just like that, okay? Just an example. Yep, it would be right here, right? It's real time. It is very interactive. You can give feedback immediately. But hey, if you're using Google. Oh yeah. Thank you, Mr. Young. Yeah, you want to turn on your camera? You are more than welcome to turn on your camera because I don't want to talk to faceless, rectangles. Okay, so you can organize, or your learners can organize, and they can edit their answers. You see, for example, this sentence is mine, so I say it's time, like this. You see? Yeah. Okay, no camera here, sir. Oh yeah, that's fine. Okay, thank you for your response. All right, and you can, if you want to clear for new content, you just press clear frame. You know how to use this. It's very easy and very, you can have many slides like this. Oh, I can see you, Mr. George. I'm sorry if I say your name wrong, but yeah. Thank you very much for turning on your camera. Oh my God, finally I have 1 participant. Yes, thank you very much. Okay, yeah, that's about Jamboard, and I believe there are a lot of tutorial videos on YouTube that you can figure out yourself, but I want to, introduce to you. And then we have Google Docs. Why I don't want to use Pad, if I remember correctly, is Padlet. Yeah, it's Padlet because is charged. It's not free. It's not free at all, right? But Jamboard and Google Docs are free. Yeah, thank you very much, Ms. Pitron, for reminding me. It's Padlet. So I always use this to teach my learners. All right. For example, I type in a question, and then I'm going to, add something like a table, and I type their name on the left column, and then they have to write their answer on the right. So basically, everyone can learn from each other, and we can give real-time help when we use, Jamboard or Google Doc. All right. So yeah, there are a lot of things. So if you want to, you can bold. You can make the items bold if you want to. Yeah. And if it's wrong, you can just, slide through it like this. And it's traceable. We have editing history like this. So basically, when ones insert some kind of, or they correct their own answers, we know that they did, right? Or some of your learners are very, very naughty. They may do this. They may do this. Oops, nothing on the screen. Oh my God. So you know who did it, right? You know who deleted everything, okay? Right. And yeah, we deliberately divide the class into groups beforehand. I mean, we need to add our students, on a certain social media platform. And in Vietnam, Zalo is free and very effective. So, and using phone number as well, just to make sure that account is of your learners. So we add them and we deliberately, divide them into groups, and we rotate group members from time to time. Just we want to expand interactions. Okay. And what do? We group them together and we let them learn from one another because we want them to interact with each other as well. So they get to know their classmates and they establish bonds and build trust between them. Yeah. And especially everyone have to contribute to the lessons. No one is left behind, right? That is our priority. No one is left behind. So you have to do it. You have to contribute. You need to learn from your friends. All right. And the questions that is posted to these platforms should be open-ended. We want them to think critically. We encourage them to look at, one matter from different angles. So it should be open-ended. And this is your own competence to do this. And you have time to prepare at home, right? Before the class. So use 6Cs and add more ideas. And more ideas means more interaction. Because I may not agree with Mr. Young on some matters, right? So I start, talking to Mr. Young, and I have established basically a kind of interaction between myself, and Mr. Young. Yep, just like that, just an example. Yep. And for teacher, it's like we do what? We add them on the social networks, and nowadays I use Facebook. For me specifically, I use Facebook. All right. And I create supportive learning community on Facebook or Zalo. I create groups on Zalo just to facilitate the sharing, the material sharing activity. Because I have a lot of ebooks and my learners usually ask for ebooks. So basically, there are books that are just not available in Vietnam. So we have to find the electronic version of them. So I share with my learners. I encourage them to read. So I use Zalo to send the materials. And let me show you what I do on Facebook. Sorry. So I created this. I created this group 3 years ago, but until very lately, I pay attention to it. I understand how important is being reminded constantly what you have learned, or being exposed to English-speaking environment, or you are exposed to reading authentic reading materials. So I created this group, and you see, every day I prepare a post like this. Thử thách mỗi ngày, it means challenge, daily challenge. So if you can do the sentence in the in the photo or not, okay? It is every day, and on the weekly basis, probably I would do some kind of reading like this with visuals. So I want them to read. Of course, some of them just don't read. Okay, they just look at the picture, but at least they can see some big words like ancient Greece. I believe, to me, that's enough, right? That's enough. If they are studious, they will click on the picture and they will read. Yeah. But the more they read, the better their English becomes, I believe. Okay. So, and I schedule a lot of posts, everyone. So basically, as a teacher, I always want my learners to be exposed to English. Authentic material, of course. These sentences, these questions are from an Oxford, published book. All right, they're not my own. All right, so I schedule, you see, a lot of things. Like at the end of each month, I prepare for next month. All right, and that is for social network because we want them to tighten the bond. Yeah, study alone, right? If I remember correctly, studying alone made Jack a doughboy or something. Oh my God, I don't really remember that proverb, but I believe we should have interest group as well. For example, an origami group or a drama group, you know, or reading group in which you post a lot of, for example, short stories, just to teach them, to help build their character traits as well. So everything needs to go to better learning outcomes, right? And by enhancing interactions, they need to be willing to talk more. And by adding them to an interest group, they will talk more, right? Probably because it's their favorite or is what they know a lot about, what they are really knowledgeable about. So they will talk more about that. And that is what we need to encourage our learners. Of course, they need to speak in English as well, right? Yeah, to enhance interaction. Okay, and of course, we don't want to talk to anonymous participants.
Right.
Right.
May I intervene here,
Yeah.
Mr. Tom? Well, so you will have a couple more minutes.
Yeah. I'll be quick.
We'd like to open the floor to the participants, then to have the real-time Q&A.
Okay. So please have a look at the slide. So we asked them to be themselves by editing their bios and profile picture. Yeah, profile picture, right? And we need to update academic or recreational contents. Of course, to vary the contents to make it more interesting to participate in. And we ask them to answer questions. Yeah, and we can create some competitions as well. Like I told you, competitions play an important role. Okay? Flipgrid. You know Flipgrid? I'm going to show you. Just have a look at the text for like 5 seconds, and I'm going to show you what Flipgrid is. Flipgrid is great for post-teaching stage because we want to remind them. Okay? So this is Flipgrid. And I have created some. Yeah? Look at me. Oh, this is me. All right. And, I have some requirements on the left, and I have a video of myself modeling what I want them to produce, right? It's on Flipgrid. And especially it's free, everyone. It's free. It's free. But you must set some rules to prevent abuse, bully, or making fun of each other because they can comment on each other's video. So that's our job, all right? And Google Docs, I told you already, right? We use Google Docs to assign homework and stuff. We can also use Google Form, yeah, to design tests or quizzes, okay? Easy. It's easy. It's all over the place on YouTube. You can search for how it is used. And you can use Canva to design stuff, okay? Especially birthday cards, because their birthday, if they are celebrated, they feel that they are respected and appreciated. We strengthen the bond. We build rapport with our learners, okay? And we combine. We have iPad and Apple Pencil and stuff. We can teach. We can draw. We can write answers on the screen directly, or we can use double monitor, just like I have now, okay? Yeah. And these are the qualities. After this, we're done. Yeah, we need a good sense of humor. Otherwise, the learning environments become very tense. We need to change our attitude toward teaching online teaching, okay? Because we have no other choice. We need to be open-minded. We need to be responsible for ourselves, and we need to be flexible. By flexible, I mean helpful, patient, and we set high optimistic expectations on our learners. All right. Thank you very much for listening to me. And now I'm open to questions.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Tong Ngo, for a very informative presentation. I'm sure that you are very much excited and you still have more to share.
Yeah.
Now, guys.
So the book I use is called Advanced Vocabulary and Grammar Structure. Okay?
Perhaps while
I'm open to question. Oh, I remember somebody asked me about Miss Hung, right? Miss Hung, can you repeat your question? I cannot, retrieve the question. I'm sorry. I have a memory of a goldfish, I'm sorry for that. But can you repeat your question, please, Miss Hung Jung? If you have any questions, I'm open to it. And this is my email.
All
So
right.
if you need,
Let me just read the question out loud for you, Mr. Thorn.
yeah,
Hung Jung, so what do you do when no students showed up or turn on the cameras?
very mono. I have to be honest with you, all right? I have to be honest with you. I force them to turn on their camera because I don't want to talk. Like I told you, I am, you know, I always want to be true to myself because when I feel comfortable teaching them, I believe that is when I can deliver the lesson in the best and effective way. So I force them to turn on the camera. But if they have problems with the camera, or they have like anything in the background that they don't want to show, they can direct message me. They can, personally message me. Yeah, and that is when rapport kicks in. I always try to know my learners better. I share with them my own experience. I share with them about my own life. So we are close, basically. We are close. So it's not really forcing, They just turn on the camera like by themselves. They want to do it because they know that I want it to happen. So it's best for us to build rapport, okay? And by building rapport, we share with them. We care, we pay attention to very small details. Like on that day, that person looked really pale. So you say, hey, are you okay? Do you need something to drink or to eat? What you did last night that you how do I say, you stay awake all night or something? So we try to build rapport with our learners. Không có bằng gì bằng lòng. So I usually say that to my learners. Okay? If they're shy, we can encourage them to be, oh, yes. Thank you very much for your contribution. They feel surely more comfortable. Yes, thank you very much. We're authentic and truly care about them. They respond, yes. That is what I'm trying to deliver. Thumbs up. Thank you, Annie. Any questions, please? I'm open to questions. I have to say I'm a talkative person. You can ask me anything.
Perhaps while waiting for some other questions, perhaps I had a question for you, Mr. Thorn.
Yes. It's my honor to answer yours.
I'm amazed by your very first showcase, a lot of electronic gadgets. So the question here is, how might you deal with a situation in which the students just want to play around with the gadgets instead of the language per se as expected?
I have to say that I always try to explain to my learners why you are doing this, the reasons and the results that you will achieve. What positive results, of course, and of course there will be consequences if you don't do as I instruct. But I will try to, persuade them in a positive note, like, hey, this is really helpful to you. If you don't believe me, you experience it yourself. Like for 2 weeks or so, you will see the difference. So I first persuade them first. I try to use, my language to persuade them. I try to use the relationship that we have to persuade them. First, we give them a reason why they should do this, but not that. And then, if they still they don't want to listen to you, or they just want to mess around, there will be consequences that they have to suffer from. Of course, we need law and order. I'm sorry to say that term, but we need law and order. We need disciplines in a classroom, certain disciplines to make it smooth and to make it effective. But for most of the time, explain to them, convince them, give them reasons what they will achieve. If they're distracted, that means they're bored. Focus on the quality of teaching. Yes! Encourage good behaviors. Oh my God, you're so thoughtful, Annie. You're so thoughtful. Yes, that is self-reflection, right? Class dojo to manage behaviors, good or bad. Yeah. Actually, I don't really see those behaviors as bad because I believe if problems occur in our class, the very first person to blame is myself. In my class, I mean. So what have I done, or what haven't I done? What have I not done enough to to lead to this problem? Yeah. So it's our responsibility. I mean, mine. Okay. You may not agree with me. Yeah, that's fine. I respect differences, but yeah, in my, like personally, I usually reflect to see what I could have done better. And if I've done something good, I would try to develop it and share it with my colleagues, for example.
All right. I suppose that the topic is still there to stay, and there's discussions and things going on. So thanks again, Mr. Daniel, for a very inspirational presentation.